I just did it. So like I joined the school newspaper, for example, and I'm not, before that I wasn't really interested in journalism, but I thought, I don't have anything better to do. It seems like a really good opportunity to learn, so I ended up doing that. There was also like a lot of really cool research opportunities that came my way, and I could have just, I didn't really have to do them, but I thought, like this is a good opportunity for me to learn and grow, so I did those too. Um, so I really encourage that mentality. Um, of just taking opportunities as they come, because they're gonna come. There's always so many. Like even at Foothill, there's tons of opportunities. You'll get emails and like see flyers and things, and you might think, oh, that's not for me. But if you kind of stop and think, is there any reason like not to try this thing? And you don't find a good one other than um, you don't you want to be doing something else. I encourage you to stop and think about that.
Okay, that sounds really great. So you try to take all the challenge that you would like to take. You went to the script, which is the Foothill newspaper,
Yeah.
and you also take the internship programs,
Yeah.
and then you also join lots of contests.
Yeah, so I can talk a little more about the specifics. Of course, keep your grades up, everyone. That's really important.
Okay.
But there was a few research opportunities through social science. There was like the Foothill Symposium, which I don't know if you remember, the huge event at the end of the year. And there's also the Bay Area Honors Symposium. So I encourage joining honors is really important, especially if you want to do UCLA TAP. But the Honors Society just it opens the door to a lot of other opportunities, and one of them is another research symposium where you can do your own research and present it. So that looks really good. And I did both of the honors and the Foothill Symposium. I also started a club on campus. So I encourage people to get involved in like clubs on campus, just because one, they're a good place to find community, but also they're a good place to find opportunity for other things. Gonna plug the Environmental Action Club really quickly, because it's a club that's actually focused on the environment. So if you're interested in that, that's the one I was in. So yeah, kind of just getting involved in campus activities, and my first year I was very much kind of going to class and going home. But my second year I was much more over involved, and I think that really contributed to the success.
So
later.
I got a question.
Yeah.
You've done lots of things in the past 2 years. So how can you keep the balance? Do you even sleep?
Not well, but actually, yeah. If I managed my time perfectly, I could have done it all, gotten good sleep and everything. But it is a struggle. I definitely, the whole time I was definitely not sleeping well, not always eating well, and I still have depression occasionally. So, I don't always balance it perfectly. But what's really important, and I think what's more important, every day I feel like it's more and more important, is just to focus on yourself more than anything else, more than like some far off goal. Just making sure that you're doing well, that you feel like you're healthy, you're happy with your relationships. I think that's really important. One thing that I wasn't my first year was like I didn't feel like I had many great relationships, but once I started getting more involved on campus, I felt a lot more kind of at place and at home. Yeah, and I guess just trying to keep the procrastination to a minimum. It can be really hard. Like, believe me, I
am not procrastinating.
Me too. Like seriously, like I developed a system that worked for me, but it was definitely a ton of procrastination on my classwork. So sometimes it feels unavoidable, but just finding something that works for you, and just making sure again that you're valuing your own health above some other thing.
Okay, so besides Stanford, what other university have you applied in the same time?
I applied to most of the UCs, basically all of them except for Berkeley, Merced, and Riverside. And I also applied to University of Washington in Seattle, because it's a school I've always wanted to go to. Also CU Boulder, which is in Boulder, Colorado.
Okay.
So those are the schools I applied to. I didn't really want to go east, so I didn't apply to Ivies or anything. But yeah, those ones.
Okay. Let me check other questions
Sure.
that other students might have. Okay. So how do you feel as a transfer student in Stanford? What kind of difficulties have you met?
That's a great question, because one of the great things about transferred from Foothill to UC is there's so many transfers, and you find community much more quickly. But in Stanford, there is only 24 of us.
Okay.
So I've heard they say it can feel really alienating, and it did it definitely a little bit, kind of coming in already as a junior, but not really. But you're kind of like a freshman, right? So what was really great about Stanford that I'm really appreciative of is like they make you feel at home as a transfer student, like from day one, and they never stop. Like from day one, they've always been like, you belong here, like we love having you here, and they like introduce the transfer community is really tight knit, so they have transfers from years past, like always like showing you around. So that part is really great, and I'm really appreciative of that because definitely otherwise it would feel super socially isolating, and even with all that, like it still does feel socially isolating at times. I think that's the hardest part, is kind of getting accustomed to this new environment where you feel like you're an outsider because you're coming in as a third year student, but you're basically for the first time.
Okay.
So that's definitely the hardest part. As far as like classes and other things go, I honestly found the quality of classes out so far. I'm only in my first week, but they're similar to Foothill. I don't feel like I have to do too much more or less to